The brain is like that. Its electromagnetic field remains charged just briefly, even after death. Circuits remain open. Now, there's another peculiarity about the brain. It contains a short-term memory tract that's approximately 8 minutes long.
Jeffrey Wright plays the same character in this movie as he does in every movie he's ever been in. This is Spoilers!
Yeah. And Westworld.
This is Spoilers. Hello, good people, listeners across the country and the world. This is your host, Stevie. And tonight, or today, or this morning, or whenever you're listening to it, we are breaking down the very underrated 2011, almost classic that makes no sense, The Source Code. What's up, fellas?
Heyo.
Is it source code or is it the source code?
I've been playing with both. I kind of like source code just by itself better.
What are you, the director?
It's whatever Stevie likes.
I don't know. I'm just kind of running the ship here.
It's called source code.
Okay, so it's called source code, but the source code itself is called the source code. Is that right?
I think so.
It's like the Inception.
That's how it's named in the Army.
The Inception.
The source code.
Gotcha. Well, tonight, let's go Isis to Isis. And my topic tonight is something I texted Pappy earlier, which when I said, hear me out. Source code would make an amazing Broadway musical. Like, I think that would kill. My question for you tonight is, I want you to take any movie that you think would make an awesome musical. Brett, I think you're first.
Oh, crap. Everything's been made into a musical, pretty much. I mean, Rocky's a musical.
It is?
I think so. Maybe it's just a play.
Is Total Recall a musical?
I don't recall. I don't know. Predator. That's what I...
That'd be fun.
That's a good one. Predator singing would be pretty amazing.
Stick around. Stick around. Anybody? No? Stick around?
Yeah. I dig it.
Mikey, what's up? Now.
Been pushing too many pencils.
Yeah, Mikey recording from Goshen, Indiana. I'd like to take another crack at the often overlooked and pretty much hated overall Spider-Man musical that never got off the ground. I think I'll take a crack at it.
Did they even do a dress rehearsal for that, or was it just doomed from the start?
No, like people saw that.
I don't even think it started.
No, it did start. And
is that with Donald Glover?
No. It was called Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Didn't someone die?
And it was playing for... Yeah,
that's what I thought.
I think so, actually.
Like during one of the musicals?
In my production, I'll guarantee nobody dies. That's my one guarantee. It won't be good, but nobody will die in my production of Spider-Man.
I like that. What's up, Josh?
This is Josh from Goshen. I'm going to think a little outside the box here, and I know this isn't typically my style, but Grease was a popular musical, so I think if you could fit Fast Furious 1 through 8 in one musical, it would be brilliant.
Wow. Josh, I never thought I'd say this, but you're a goddamn genius.
I kind of love it, honestly.
I love that. I would pay big money to see a 3-hour musical of all the Fast and Furious blended into one.
Family.
All the cars are cardboard, and they carry them on their backs.
Oh, would that be amazing though to see like giant dancing Corona bottles on stage, like with a number called the Buster?
That's pretty funny.
Tell you really, I think we're hitting something here. Oh, Pappy, what's up?
Hey, this is Pappy, the next most weesest in Louisville, Colorado. We're living in a very interesting time. There's a lot of conversations about gender, and I think that it's time for It's Pat the musical. Would probably.
Oh boy! I couldn't agree
There's
more.
Nowhere to
Educate
go but up from the movie. So.
Oh.
Right, is Ween going to do the score or not? I would love to see some Dean Ween in the pit orchestrating. I've listened to a little bit of Ween, actually, since that pod. I'm into it, Josh. I'm with your coworkers from Yogi's. They might be the best band ever. Give them some time.
You should try to play with the Ween.
I do that while I podcast, Corey.
My name is Corey, also known as Kylo Ren memes. To answer your question, I'm trying to think of like the least suited movie for a musical, and what's coming to mind is Uncut Gems. Like,
oh my god.
Just because of the clash. That's really my joke answer, but all right, my real answer, I'm going to go with the Brett and get two answers. The Last Jedi. Right? A lot of people don't like The Last Jedi. Love it or hate it. It's time to give it another chance. We can up the ante, make it a musical. Cast Adam Driver, Last Jedi the musical.
I think Josh texted me today. Still, it's been like 3 years running about how much he hates The Last Jedi. Comes up every once in a while.
Oh, I had to slow down because Pappy told me to.
At a heart-to-heart.
Oh, well, let's get into the source code. Directed by Duncan Jones, who also did an amazing movie called Moon. Really small indie flick, did this movie. And then, Pap, has his career really gone anywhere after this movie besides downward?
Not that I know of. Has anybody seen Mute?
World of Warcraft?
World of Warcraft?
Was World of Warcraft good, Mikey?
No. I haven't seen it, but I know that it's bad.
Yeah, you don't even need to. You can just guarantee it.
It's just such a bummer, because if I was back in 2011 and I had seen Moon, which has a really low budget, and I saw this, which has a slightly higher budget, I would be so on board the Duncan Jones train.
Only if he could just make better movies from now on. But let's start out at the beginning of this movie. Brett, we have a lot of scenery in this movie, and a lot of trains, and a lot of golf courses, and a lot of ominous music playing. How does this movie really start out?
Let's see.
It's like 10 minutes of establishing shots.
Yeah. With the cast going on, it's going over like Chicago and going over neighborhoods and stuff like that, right? It's very, very pretty.
The City of Angels.
It's supposed to look like grid-like the inside of a computer, right? I was picking up some Matrix-y vibes here right at the
Nice.
beginning.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't catch that, Josh.
It looked pretty though.
I'll have to go. Yeah, look cool.
We talk about this all the time, though. This is what Locke and other movies should have been doing. Like, it really uses Chicago well, Stevie, don't you think?
He's got to come back and rip on Locke.
I do.
Well, I think you also said the same thing about Baby's Day Out.
And Los Enchiladas, for the record, too. None of those movies use their surroundings very well.
Baby's
Unlike
Day
this.
Out was a real missed opportunity to show
In the room.
how amazing Chicago is.
We should bring up the good movies we cover, not just continually shit on the bad ones we cover.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but Brett, who are the characters we meet? Because there's a lot of moving parts in the beginning.
All right, so you meet Jake Gyllenhaal, but he doesn't even know who he is or where he's at. He's sitting across from Michelle Monaghan or Monaghan, whatever her name is. They apparently know each other, but he's just lost. He gets dumped into a situation. He gets he keeps saying later on, I need to be briefed. And but at the beginning, he doesn't know anything. He's in someone's strange body, which I don't think he figures out yet. Maybe later in this first simulation, is that when he finds out that he's not him? Or is that a later one?
Yeah, that's loop one, is when he sees the mirror.
He's just really freaking out.
Yeah, he looks in the mirror and sees that he's very average. And he's like, I'm not Jake Gyllenhaal.
I know, that would
I am
suck.
so much better
bad.
looking than this.
Imagine how upset you'd be.
Apparently, if this is to believe, the director had Jake Gyllenhaal had an earpiece in his ear that he would put stuff in to make him super disoriented. That's kind of why he's looked like he's doing some crack sometimes throughout the movie, and I thought that comes off really cool. He plays a really good creep.
Rather sweaty throughout the first 15 loops. Rather sweaty.
Stevie, can I ask you a question? I know it's early.
Let's have at it.
When you, on It's Pat, you said that you were on a mission to make Jake Gyllenhaal the king of spoilers. I guess this would kind of be stating the obvious, but I've never heard anyone say they don't like Jake Gyllenhaal. What is it about Jake Gyllenhaal that's so appealing? Why do we all love him so much?
Great actor.
I don't know, you guys can jump in after this. My theory is, I think he's just a cool dude, and also he looks like he could exist in your reality, not just like a movie star, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, you could, like, pass that dude at some point in your life, just, like, in your, like, actual city that's not Los Angeles, being like, oh, it's a pretty nice dude. I know, he's, like, the every guy's man, but cool at the same time. I don't know.
He doesn't seem like he's trying too hard,
But he's an awesome
That's a
actor,
big-
though.
like a lot of big actors do.
He also seems to carry this like this very interesting, unique to Jake Gyllenhaal energy, where like he can snap at an instant and just like, you know, grab you by your collar and pick you up and start yelling in your face.
It's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal, whatever, man.
Gyllenhaal.
I think he's like a super.
He's also pretty funny.
Yeah,
done
he's
some
funny.
funny
He's
stuff.
got like funny videos and stuff. Taylor Swift wrote at least 2 songs about him. That's pretty cool.
Were they the mean songs or the happy songs?
Mean.
Mean.
I
I gotta disagree with Mikey
best
though.
ones.
I don't think he looks lazy on screen. I feel like he almost looks like he never takes his foot off
didn't
the
say
gas.
I
To
said
me,
he doesn't
it's,
try hard.
It
There's
looks
a difference.
natural, though, Josh. It doesn't look like he's trying too hard.
I agree, but I think that comes about from him actually like working really hard at the role. I don't think that's easy to pull off.
No, I feel like a lot of Jake Gyllenhaal movies aren't easy to pull off. But as Brett said, he looks in the mirror. He's like, who is this ugly dumbass I'm looking at in the mirror? What? Like, imagine looking like Jake Gyllenhaal every day and being like, oh, I'm Sean Frentis now. Cool. Like,
And for some reason, Michelle Monaghan is all about him.
yeah.
All about Sean.
Also,
Imagine
I'm not
if it
calling
was
these
Jake,
people.
though.
I'm not calling these people ugly, but I feel like Michelle Monaghan could exist in our realities too. Like I wouldn't say plain, but not overly too good looking, just to be riding the train to
I
Chicago.
wouldn't mind if she existed in my reality. Put it that
Yeah,
way.
I think she's pretty good looking.
Yeah, I say she just has a relatable factor to her. That's all.
That's
But
true.
the train blows up. Pap, where do we end up with Jake after this?
So first, sorry, take a quick step back. Did you guys get the sense too in that first pass through that there's something happening like the Groundhog Day language of film? Like you're gonna see these things over and over again.
It's my biggest gripe with the movie.
Did anybody else pick up on that the first pass through, or is it just me?
Yeah, the way they have like those little scenes playing out that are seemingly meaningless, like, oh, a kid dropped his wallet, and then, oh, like the coffee spills, and like, I feel like it made it seem like those things were important, and they're such small details that you did get that feeling.
They focus in on those innocuous beats. Like when the coffee spills on a shoe, there's like an insert shot of his shoe with coffee on it. Like they're pointing these things out visually.
But like of the 10 things they point out, only one of them is important. So I think that's kind of cool. Like you have to figure out which one's important.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome.
A lot of them are just people. Sorry, a lot of them are just people sitting there, like not even necessarily moving or losing a wallet, just literally sitting there in a seat.
I feel sick.
Damn it!
Sorry. Let me help you with that.
No, it's okay.
Glenbrook Station.
Hey, mister. Hey.
Glenbrook Station.
Hey. You dropped this. Oh, sorry. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Complaining about the time. Russell Peters is there. But anyway, Steve, like you said, the train blows up and we are in what looks to be kind of like a space capsule. At the time I was thinking it was either in Antarctica or it was maybe submerged.
Look like a
submerged
spaceship.
in water or in outer space, but he seems to be very isolated in this capsule, and he's being I think he's being talked to by the commander, right? She's trying to bring him back, and he's kind of freaking out at this point. This is the first sort of memory sequence that they do with the cards.
Yeah, this is Vera Farmiga's character. Is that how her name's pronounced?
I always said Vera, but I have no idea. I have no idea. So
Stacked cast.
She's in The Departed.
Buscemi.
Buscemi.
She's at
Gyllenhaal,
least in the
Moynihan.
2 movie club. She was in Departed.
She was in The Departed.
Yeah.
But Josh, what is kind of her role in this movie? Because it's really wishy-washy to start out with.
Well, first of all, I'd say that she's a co-soldier. So, like, her and Jake Gyllenhaal are equals, and her job is to guide Jake Gyllenhaal, who's actually just a text bot, through his mission. And it's kind of weird. She kind of starts to get a crush on him, even though he's, like I said, what is that, like, smarter child?
Yes, I was going to say the same thing. The aimbot, smarter child.
Thank you, Corey. Yeah, her role, though, I think is kind of to be grounded in the real world, though. And she is kind of at the helm. She's almost like the pilot of the ship, and she's driving Jake Gyllenhaal around in the simulator.
Yeah, just we don't really know it's a simulator yet, right? If I remember correctly.
No, but I mean, we're allowed to talk about that, right?
Well, this is spoilers.
I don't know.
When it comes to him, Jake Gyllenhaal, fuck it, Captain Coulter Stevens, he claims that it's a simulator, so that we get the idea that it is for a little while at least.
Yeah, Mikey, you brought up Jake's acting. This is when he really starts to show that classic Gyllenhaal range, is during Loop 2. This is when he actually, like, finds the bomb. And what it's kind of like his reaction now is he still thinks it's this giant test simulation.
Yeah, he honestly finds the bomb pretty quickly on that second loop.
A little too
He's like the
quickly.
world's greatest detective. Yeah. But he finds it, and then he proceeds to, like, pretend to be like a train air marshal or something, and tries to get the attention of everybody and say that there's, like, a security situation on board the train, and that he needs to, like, have everybody shut off their electronics and stuff like that, right? Or what? I mean, he doesn't even get very far before the bomb goes off in that second loop, but
He breaks a man's
Hey,
jaw.
I'm in the
Yeah.
middle of a big deal here.
That was a hard break, too.
Why is Russell Peters in this movie? Like, I don't mind that he is, but
The only thing I can think of is he was, like, by the set. And this is probably around the time his stand-up started to get big. And they're like, hey, you want to be in this movie, Russell? And he's like, sure. It's the only thing I can think of. Because his lines truly are really just, hey, Grandpa, what's taking so long? And doing stand-up for, like, 2 minutes.
Punch your face.
So that's a real comedian? I don't know anything about that guy.
I don't know who that is either.
yeah, he's a really famous comedian. Like, he's
a real famous stand-up
Oh, is he?
comedian.
Apparently, he doesn't belong in this movie.
does he actually have 2 DUIs? Because that was a thing Michelle Monaghan brought up.
Multiple times.
Life imitates art. He got 2 DUIs after the movie.
He was on America's Got Talent.
Was that true? Is that where he came from?
I mean, it'd be kind of
yeah.
corny if it really was true. Like, it is that guy for America's Got Talent. Yeah, the train blows up again. Coulter is still really confused by everything. Kylo, Corey, who does Coulter, like, remember before all this really starts? Like, what's his last memories of everything? It's kind of the linchpin for the whole movie.
So he remembers being on a mission. He was overseas. He's in the military, and he's a pilot of sorts, I believe a helicopter pilot. And he was deployed, and the last thing he remembers is being on a mission, and next thing he knows, he wakes up on the train blows up, and then he wakes up in the pod. So he is extremely disoriented. But we know that he's overseas, and that the only real family he has is his dad, who I wasn't super clear on this, but I think they had an argument about him being redeployed, and his dad didn't want him to go back out into action, but he insisted, and they kind of had a falling out.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he says.
Yeah, I mean, the whole time, really, I mean, as we get through these kind of going back in, going back out in the capsule, he's just saying, let me talk to my dad, let me talk to my dad. And it's just really strange. You still have no idea what's going on until Colleen tells him, hey, this is actually about, like, a real-life event, and you are being sent back in through the weirdest science ever. Josh, you're kind of a sci-fi guy. What really is the source code?
Okay, I kind of really like this explanation from the movie. So, apparently, in this movie's reality, our brains record the last 8 minutes before our death, and there's some sort of, like, wave. And maybe you can remind me, what do they, like, attach to that? There's, like, 2 theories they string together
A
here.
light bulb, right?
Like,
Light bulb.
Yeah, so you turn a light bulb off, and you can like see its vibe for like a split second. So it's like
Just vibing.
Just vibing, bro. Just being a light up here.
they access that and stick a person who's like a cyborg. I gotta tell you, one of my theories in the middle of this movie was that they like shrunk Jake Gyllenhaal, and she's like tiny Jake Gyllenhaal inside like a microchip. When things started getting cold.
This is where I'm confused because Jake Gyllenhaal is dead. Spoiler. So does that mean that the army picked up his body within 8 minutes and plugged him into this thing? Because like, if he died in a helicopter crash, he's gonna be out there for a while.
They said in the press release he died in a plane crash, but to the government, his brain was still alive.
He's RoboCop in a way.
Yeah.
In that way, where he was like declared dead, but he wasn't really dead, and then they just used him for.
And
this.
then they killed him.
He's only almost dead, Mikey, not full dead.
Mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
So they're using like a portion of his brain, and one of my only notes is that Vera Farmiga's like that captain. Her job is like she's dealing with this awakening consciousness through text, and I feel like her boss didn't take that into account when setting this up because that has got to be a freaky situation to be in. He's talking about flying sorties last Tuesday and let me talk to my dad. That's pretty chilling.
Quantum mechanics, parabolic calculus.
Jeffrey Wright didn't take into account the human in Jake Gyllenhaal wanting to not be stuck inside a computer program.
Yeah, he deals with robots only. But yeah, this is kind of the source code. Coulter's almost dead. His brainwaves are still kind of active. And because his brain, how'd they describe it? It's the weirdest thing.
He has like some kind of match with the person that actually died.
Yeah, he has like brain
His
maps.
synapses and body size and all that.
Body size match with that ugly ass dude, Frentis. And then,
I mean, you say that, but I feel like even he's more attractive than me, so.
I'm just saying, compared to Jake, it has to be alarming to wake up as Coulter Stevens one day and then realize you're this Frentis dude. It's very alarming.
First of all,
the first thing I do is check my wiener. What's Frentis working with?
Man, I was thinking the same thing. Like, he had to have done it at some point, especially when he's going off with whatever her name is.
First of all, Josh, I thought the exact same thing you did, that Jake Gyllenhaal had been shrunken down when things got to get all cold. I don't know why. But Stevie, I think a big part of the movie is that it's more or less that humankind, specifically the U.S. military, has discovered the source code, but they don't yet understand the source code, right? Like, that's a big part of it. They've kind of tapped into something that they don't realize what it is yet.
This is definitely the first time they're using it.
But they don't even understand how it works, because I mean, it's potentially creating parallel dimensions, right? That's kind of what we're left with.
Yeah, so this is kind of loop 3 where there's more rules thrown out that sometimes do work and sometimes don't within the movie. Do you remember this, Pap, where he gets off the train? This is where he actually realizes this was an actual event.
So this is where he convinces Michelle Monaghan to get off the train, right? And he's pursuing the suspected terrorist with motion sickness. Is that what you're talking about?
He's brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Racial profiling, like they say in the movie. But, you know,
They pointed it out, so it's
not
okay.
cool, Jake.
The movie does this, like, kind of clever thing where, like, Jake gets kicked onto the tracks and gets run over by a train. And at the time, I was like, that's pretty lame. Like, it doesn't mean that he has to find a way to die every time, because he gets hit by the train and gets kicked out of the source code. But I think, like, based on what we see later on, like, especially when he's calling his dad, they can kind of recall him, right? Like, he just has this 8-minute timer, and this is like when he realizes that he fucked up, and he's really starting to get into what's happening, right?
Yeah, this is exactly. The whole point is for the train not to explode. Find the guy who bombs the train. You have 8 minutes. That's the whole thing. Repeat, repeat. Go ahead.
Not even necessarily to stop the train from exploding, because they don't believe that he can stop that.
You're right. Good
I
call.
want to find out who bombed him.
Because they think the guy's going to do a bigger bomb in Chicago.
Dirty bomb.
So we talked about some like logic flaws. That's one of my biggest ones. Is the use case for accessing the source code is so specific. You have to have a terrorist attack, then you have to know you're gonna have another terrorist attack. That's the only way it can actually help your current timeline, right? Like how many times is it actually going to be?
That's what I didn't understand.
All right. Remember Fast and the Furious 4 when Dom like recreates the whole scene where Letty died? Like you can use it for stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I think you could use it for more things.
Like to do like detective work.
You could help find serial killer.
That is true.
That's true, but I think part of Jeffrey Wright's downfall is he wants source code to make such a big splash.
Yeah, for sure.
And so he's almost like a Mr. Glass character where he wants something bad to happen.
And he is specifically looking at terrorism. He mentioned that, so.
He's like, I can't wait till the next big explosion. Maybe we can stop the second one.
Maybe Jeffrey Wright hired the white guy to do this terrorist attack.
Just to get funding from the government?
Twist. Yeah.
Oh.
What a twist.
Brett, you mentioned a dirty bomb. What exactly is a dirty bomb?
No idea. I was hoping that you didn't ask me that. I said it like I knew what it was talking about.
I don't know what it is.
I was like, ugh.
It's a bomb that does anal.
Oh my God. Corey.
Edit
All right,
point.
I got one. I got it.
Can't say that.
A dirty bomb or a radiological dispersal device. It combines radioactive material with conventional explosives.
So it just gives everyone around cancer.
It is, however, not to be confused with a nuclear explosion such as a fission bomb. So there we go.
Naturally.
I didn't realize that a dirty bomb would like jump around like that when Gyllenhaal has him surrounded at his van and the box is like bouncing around. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna have like a little critter in there or something. Like, he's gonna release an animal into Chicago. I had no idea.
Yeah. So this is, I don't know. This movie keeps getting stranger and stranger. When he gets kicked onto the tracks and he gets killed by a train, it really throws kind of everything off course. Because I thought it was a really cool element of the movie, kind of like why he's dying after he doesn't die the correct way in the source code. This is like when his capsule's like malfunctioning and like he's lost all power and he's like freezing to death.
Yeah, I think this is like when he figures out that the whole capsule is a manifestation. He fixes the screen and he gets back in touch with Vera and he's like, Captain Vera, help me, get me out of here. And this is kind of where he starts being explained. Like, the movie is kind of a slow drip of info, especially for him, about what he's actually experiencing. And there's like almost like some Michel Gondry sort of direction here, where like the capsule is like in his mind moving around in pieces. It's actually pretty well done, I thought.
Yeah, it's when he's kind of starting to realize that he also gets told too that like, hey dude, you've been here for like 2 months dead, and this is just kind of like how your brain is perceiving the world.
Yeah.
So what's actually happening there when he's freezing? Because there are some shots of like the command center, and they're saying it's hard to save him. What did he just have his bios dropped? What's really?
Isn't that kind of just a cliche thing that when you're about to die, you get really cold?
Yeah, I guess that might be.
That's
it.
how
I was hoping
that's how
one
I
of you
took
guys
it.
could explain what was going on here, because it's kind of one of those like Eternal Sunshine, like he's off the map. It's like, why? Why does dying by train take you off the map?
I'm going to be totally honest. The science in this movie doesn't make any sense to me. I just like it because Jake is in this movie. It honestly doesn't make any sense at all to me. Any of the source code, the quantum physics, none of it really lines up in any sort of way that I can think of.
Stevie, I didn't catch that line with as much importance as you did. I thought his mind was almost rejecting the simulation because he was like figuring out and like freaking out.
That's kind of what it seemed like to me. Like it throws everything out of whack, like his brain's acting all weird and things have changed. And then
the first simulation they made for him was a paradise, but his brain rejected it.
God.
The only thing
Sorry,
I mean, wouldn't you be freaking out after the first loop? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like the only thing I could think of really is that like the source code is designed in a way for him like to only die that way every time. kind of like, okay, once the explosion goes off, he's returned here. And because, I mean, the explosion went off without him, it sent him to a different place.
Yeah, that's a good.
Like, that's why he...
But he dies other ways, and he doesn't
That's true.
wake up in a cold sweat.
True that.
You get shot and other stuff.
He does get shot in other ones. Yeah, like you said, kind of like the science doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Especially it's kind of like moving on. They're sending him to different missions.
Suffice it to say, going in and out of the reality is painful to him. It's cold when he's in the capsule. He's getting killed. He's freaked out. I think Vera's whole character arc is realizing, like, this is a really messed up thing to do to a person that's brain dead.
Are we the bad guys?
Seriously.
Can I say something about the science, Stevie?
Have at it, Pat.
Because Josh keeps bringing up the Matrix. I would much rather have a film just not explain and that there's like these scientific anomalies than something stupid like we needed the humans for batteries, which just like breaks down the more and more you think about it. Like I like the ambiguity as opposed to like concrete, I don't know, hard science that's not going to hold up. Maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
I
I
see what
guess
you're
if
saying.
the more you explain it, the more kind of a hole you dig.
Because there could have been like a scene, Pappy, where like they like went in the computer screen and it's like, this is your brain coded into the machine.
Exactly.
It's linked into, and it, it could have gone through like a little diagram.
You must
and,
only die in the explosion.
Exactly.
Do not die any way else.
For the longest time, I thought the capsule was like, I mean, you can't see the capsule all that well for a while until it like kind of pans out later on in the movie. But I thought he was supposed to be in the helicopter in his mind.
Oh.
But
That's what I thought, especially when he's leaking like hydraulic
but it doesn't
oil.
look like a helicopter at all when they show the whole thing, and he's like in a giant metal
Right.
can. It's like, well, I don't know.
But
what
it's
this
like
is.
a close enough approximation of like some kind of military craft, right? I mean, he's in something somewhat recognizable to him, and they did say this is something that he manifested anyway, and it even changes later.
And it's pretty awesome set piece too.
Code.
There's some behind the scenes footage on YouTube, and it's really like a sphere cut in half, and they built that little chamber for him to sit in. It's pretty sweet.
Very cool. I was going to ask Corey, this movie delves into more rules. What's kind of Rutledge's big thing when the new Frentis thinks that he like saved people by getting people like off the train?
For some reason, Jake Gyllenhaal, Captain Stevens, gets caught up with the notion of saving people when his mission is to find out who the bomber was. But he takes Vera Farmiga's, not her, Michelle Monaghan's character off the train at one point, and she doesn't die in the explosion in that iteration of the simulation or that multiverse, whatever it may be. I don't know. He starts to cling to that for some reason, and in my mind, I was like, dude, it's not, you can't save her, so just like try to find the killer. I mean, at this point in the movie, he's still under the impression that it's just like a straight simulation, so I don't know. Maybe he's just seeking some kind of reality to attach himself to, and that's why.
I was going to say, yeah, for a guy with a lot of military experience, he really lacks focus. Like, it's not till really like Loop 5 that he's kind of like, okay, here's my mission.
I have a question. Besides the time when he gets hit by the train and he gets shot, does he die any other way besides the fire?
I don't believe so. Not that we see.
Okay, so my mind's working here. It's probably stupid, but the only time that I can think of that a person didn't die that was supposed to die was the time when he got hit by the train, and that's the only time that the capsule malfunctioned. Even on the one he got shot, she still died, so they both died like they were supposed to. But the only time that somebody was left alive who shouldn't have been left alive was the time they got hit by the train. I don't know why. Just forget I was.
No, I think you're hitting on something there, because there's also something later on. I think it's when he realizes that he's dead that she starts like glitching out or something too. And when he ultimately saves the train, there's this ginormous pause, which I took to be like a literal pause. Like time actually froze, then restarted. So I think there's something to when the more you diverge from the original, quote unquote, original timeline, the more shit gets fucky. But I don't know that for sure, right? It's just kind of a fun.
Yeah, I
wrinkle
think it
of
actually
the
could
movie.
be like a wrinkle. I mean, it's like the wrinkle in time or whatever. So, I don't know. I just was thinking about it, and that's the only thing I could think of that was a common denominator or an uncommon denominator. So, all right, I just wanted to say that out loud.
No, it's a good point. Happy you brought that up. Yeah, as we get to like deeper into loop 5, this is when Coulter has Christina actually look up like who Coulter was, and in this reality too, he died 2 months ago in Afghanistan, or at least quote unquote died according to the media. This is kind of a weird scene where I don't know if it has a whole lot of payoff. Mikey, why is he kind of like antagonizing this old woman over like her bag and shit?
I mean, is he still? He wants a phone for some reason because he's trying to. Well, he keeps asking everybody if their phone has internet, right?
Yeah.
And because he's trying to send an
He's
email
trying
or
to
a
find
text
out
or
what
something
the
back
drawing
to-
means, right? I don't know where he gets the drawing, but he's trying to ask her what it stands for.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know what the drawing means.
Yeah, it's the
He
company,
draws it.
right?
He saw it on the lab coat.
Yeah. I don't know how she would know, though.
Hey, how would the old lady know?
Right.
And he doesn't. He's in the military.
She works at Walter Reed, which is like a military complex place in Maryland. I've actually been there.
Oh, that's cool.
How does he know that? I don't remember.
It was on her bag.
Oh, okay. See, there you go, Mikey. But sorry, yeah, I just like, yeah.
Stevie, you're asking the wrong person about the plot of this movie. I solely like this movie for Jake Gyllenhaal and Michelle Monaghan. I do not know anything going on
It's
plot-wise.
pronounced Gyllenhaal. So
Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal.
get it right.
Yak Gyllenhaal.
By the way, I believe her name is pronounced Vera. I looked it up. Vera Farmiga.
Vera Farmiga?
Oh, man. Let me look again. You keep talking.
Farmiga sounds
Vera
worse.
Farmiga. Yep.
But hey, got it right. Look at me. But yeah, so as he's kind of coming to grips of like, you know, Michelle Monaghan telling him Captain Coulter Stevens died, and he's glitching and she's glitching and the bomb goes off, and he also starts having like these crazy memories of going down. He was flying a helicopter,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, this is when he's asking Colleen, you know, am I dead? Am I dead? She's just like, you know, your brain is still alive if that means anything to you.
It does
Well,
not.
she's
Thank
stuck
you.
with the same thing she'd been saying the whole time. Like she's trying to keep saying that's irrelevant. Everything else is irrelevant. And he's like, me being dead is irrelevant. Yeah. So this is kind of where her armor cracks a little bit. She starts to like
Yeah.
feel for him a little bit.
Yeah, and she's just kind of telling him, like, the capsule is the closest thing to reality, like, your brain can, like, capture right now, because you're hooked up to machines, and that's about it. But yeah, this is where the same loop is kind of the same timeline. We'll kind of get to it in the end. This is where he calls Dr. Rutledge, and he's just like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? Because when he goes back to the other reality, there is no Dr. Rutledge. Different timelines. Whole lot of stuff that really is just out there.
Order you a pizza next time. See if I gets the message.
Is it Al Pacino?
Yeah.
But Pap, kind of getting down to like the last loops and whatnot. You said this hit you kind of hard when you talked to his dad.
You know, and I thought the whole time this movie was going on, there was kind of this dad thing in the background, and I was inclined to think that it was just going to be too much, an extra layer of emotion to the story that we didn't need. But for some goddamn reason, like when he is, well, first of all, they play the track that's like the interview with his dad. Was that an actual track? Was that created by Jeffrey Wright to manipulate him? That was a question that I had. You know,
Seemed real. Too much personal info.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed real.
But yeah, I mean, that's like at the very, I think this is after, I forget which loop this is, but yeah, like the stuff with his dad, it actually really did land emotionally for me. Like when he's talking to his dad, and who plays his dad again? It's
Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula. Yeah,
Oh, really?
The
Captain
guy
Archer?
from Quantum Leap.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me personally, but for some reason, like the stuff, like with his dad, like the broken relationship at the time, like in the last loop or whatever, when he's able to finally talk to him, it really did hit me. And he's pretending to be this other person. And he's saying like, I heard things weren't well, like when you left it, and all this other stuff that was there when he died. For some reason, I don't know, like the way that the dad handles it with such class too. I was surprised by how emotional I was.
I think it was perfect because it made each person feel better. Like it left them both feeling like he felt great because his dad, he got some closure talking to his dad, and his dad seemed proud of him. And then the dad, this mystery guy says, I was with him. He loved you. He knows you love him. I just think it was perfect. I'm a sucker for those kind of scenes. So.
Corey, I think you said a few episodes ago that sometimes you get lured in by cheese. I would say that the end of Source Code is very cheesy. What did you feel anything?
With the dad stuff, it was mediocre for me.
I'll punch your face.
But did only one dad get closure?
I think only one dad.
Yeah, his real dad didn't get closure. The dad in this parallel universe got closure, not his dad.
So
That's a shame.
I mean,
Right?
should we bring this up now? I mean, each one of these loops, as you call them, Stevie, is a parallel universe, is it not?
Yes. That's
Well,
what you kind of find out at the end.
There are two parallel universes, correct?
Isn't it?
Multiple. I would say
They
multiple.
can create as many as they want, as long as he keeps dying.
I feel like
Does
each
he-
one that happens is its own parallel universe.
Okay.
I think so too.
Which is just
They kind of proved that at the end.
which is just hilarious and terrifying that the U.S. military is wreaking havoc on these parallel universes. That people are getting punched in the face and people are getting harassed.
Oh,
But still, I mean, at least half of his dads now have closure. It's better than 0%.
Well, and there's a big theme of the movie too about if you could have a chance to do things over. Like I think at one point Jake is talking to Vera, and it comes up that she's been divorced, and he says something to the effect of, would you do things the same way? I think deep down at the heart of this movie, there is kind of a how great it would be if you could redo all of the mistakes, right? That's kind of the fantasy.
if you could change your fate.
Exactly.
You know what? If we're going to be honest here, if these are parallel universes, his dad doesn't have the same phone number. He's not talking to the same guy. It's not. This is a conversation that's not happening.
Do you guys see the connection here between this movie and like Poltergeist and The Exorcist? Like, really, the U.S. Army is making Jake Gyllenhaal possess a dude in 8 other realities. Like, he possesses his body and lives in it in one of forever.
It's time to bring that little short woman in.
Yeah, Ventress. What if Ventress has a girlfriend?
Helter!
That's awesome, Brett.
It's not right.
But as we get deeper into the movie, this is the second to last loop. Kylo, this is where we go full thriller mode with kind of the Derek Frost character. What goes down here?
So is this the first Derek Frost encounter or the second one?
It's
The
with
one where
van.
people die.
Okay. So he does eventually find the person that planted the bomb, and he finds that by detaching a phone from the bomb, and I think he hits redial until he discovers the correct person that answers the phone. First he has it wrong, but then he finds him. He does leave the train, and he kind of follows this guy to a shady, windowless white van, and he pulls a gun on him, which he did get from a lockbox inside the train, and he basically says, like, he does this, like, short interrogation, like, he's like, I know it's you, this stops here. But Derek Frost says, let me show you something in the van, and for some reason that I don't understand, Jake Gyllenhaal, he just has to see it. Like, he has to let him go inside and open the box.
Make sure it's not a bunch of kids.
It's a little box.
Critters.
Make sure it's not a bunch of
I mean, there's
kids.
bombs all over the walls of the van, isn't there? There's like wires hanging and
It seems like
All
it
hooked
seems
up to the
very
explosive.
dangerous to be driving.
No, I agree. But he does show him. He shows him the big bomb that he's gonna deploy, the dirty bomb. He's gonna deploy it later on in Chicago. He messes up though. He gets like distracted, and Derek Frost shoots him.
Very proud of himself too. Well, he gets distracted by Michelle Monaghan.
Yeah, he gets distracted
And
by
she gets
her. Derek Frost pulls a sneaky move and kills him. Then he kills Christina and drives away in the van.
I don't know you. I think I killed your girlfriend.
Why?
Did anyone else think it was kind of funny? He's like, I think I killed your girlfriend.
I mean, it's funny to hear you say
That was a little dark
that it's
and
funny,
cold.
but
Yeah, Brett, I couldn't stop laughing when he said that.
I know. I thought that might have been how you reacted, because that's how I was. So
his whole reasoning for being a domestic terrorist is a little corny. It's like the typical,
Same. I agree.
the world is hell. We have to start over.
We have to destroy it before we can build it.
The world is hell. But we have a chance to start over in the rubble. But first there has to be rubble.
Me, as a white man in this oppressed world, in this alternate universe where all white men are oppressed.
I mean, hasn't that been every terrorist like in a movie since like Batman Begins?
Since 12
I got to-
Monkeys.
What do you want him to have, Stevie? Do you want him to have this complicated backstory where he's... What do you want his motivation
I
to
don't
be?
know. I feel like the destroy the world to rebuild it again is getting really annoying. Like,
Also, it never
find a
works.
new show. Find a new show.
Well,
Find
you
a
need to
new
watch
story.
What is
the new
that tiny
Ghostbusters.
explosion? That tiny explosion is not going to reset the world, too. He blew up one train. It's not going to reset the world into a good world.
Yeah, but didn't you hear the guy at the end? He's like, we saved millions of lives. I'm like, I guess.
Dirty bombs were there.
Jared lives in Chicago, Mikey.
Huh?
My brother Jared lives in Chicago, man.
Does he really?
I'm talking about just the train bomb. I mean, he hasn't even gotten to the dirty bomb yet or whatever, but he's like, oh, this terrorist attack, this will be the beginning of the rebirth of the world or whatever the fuck he thinks he's doing. But you blow up one city, people
Shoot.
are going to...
Move on
Man.
away from Chicago. They'll blow themselves up.
Spoiler CinemaSins over here. Sorry, the side bet character didn't have a great backstory for y'all. It could have been a 2.5-hour movie then.
Hey, Pappy, his name's Derek Frost because he's cold-hearted.
I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I just think he should have had like a dumbed down, even more backstory. We didn't really need to get into his van at all for this movie to be good.
Josh, kind of take us home. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal knows who the guy's name is. He knows like the plate number and everything to really stop the second bomb. But he convinces Vera Farmiga to send him back in one last time. Kind of take us home what happens here.
One last
Very
ride.
rookie of the year. Yeah.
One
Give me one more chance.
Stick a fork in me.
Jake Gyllenhaal begs Vera for a second chance. Or not a second chance. I guess probably like a 12th chance. But one last chance. Now that he knows who the bomber is, he, in his
Come
mind...
on, just give me 2 more quarters. I can do it. Just give me 2 more quarters to play this game again.
I guess in his mind, he wants to create a reality where all the characters that he's now met and is now ingratiated to survive. It's pretty understandable. It's also understandable that he might just want to live for 8 more minutes and have one last hurrah. So he goes in, and this is where I think Pappy's theory really comes into play. Right, Pappy? Because this last loop, he is killing it.
Just smoking it.
Oh, yeah.
He's so charming with Michelle Monaghan too. Just plays it perfectly. I do think that like when we get into the end a little bit, the whole because in this timeline he just handcuffs the guy in the train, right? Like he just kind of kicks his ass and handcuffs him there in the train. Then later on, we're in the military center. Like, oh yeah, by the way, a domestic nuclear device explosion was thwarted. They're like, oh, that's cool. So anyway, there's no like follow up. But no, I love seeing fully formed Jake in this last loop. I thought it was awesome.
So here's what happens, Stevie. He stops the bomb, and then he out of the 8 minutes, he has like 6.5 minutes to just like enjoy himself with Michelle. And they start talking. He's charming, like Pappy said. And then he comes up with this idea to get Russell Peters to do stand up for like $120 for a little bit. Because that's like how he wants to go out. And then the camera
doing the thing he loves.
Like Jeffrey Wright screaming.
Russell Peters is bombing. He's not making anybody laugh at all on the train.
He calls his dad during this one, right?
Did he call his dad during this one?
I think he calls his
Was
dad
it
during this one.
I thought it was this.
I think so.
Either way,
Okay.
there's a ticking clock because he either has 8 minutes left or until Jeffrey Wright busts the door down on Vera because he is not happy that she gave him a second chance. And he's like flipping out. So she turns off his life support after the 8 minutes is up, and he has like the perfect kiss ending. But then time freezes and unfreezes, and he gets to live his life, I guess, possessing the body of this dude.
Of Mr. Frentis.
Of a much lesser man.
I can't defend it. I can see how it's totally cheesy. But I fucking love the everyone smiling and laughing and them kissing in the back of the train and like things are finally right in this timeline.
Yep.
Like I know, like I said, I know it's cheesy. I really can't defend
Why
it.
do you say it's cheesy?
I don't know. It just feels it's just kind of silly, right? He's just like
He possessed another man's life, Josh.
Like, look at Kylo Ren just sent a picture to the thread. We can maybe post this on Instagram. But everyone's like face who's laughing. Like we've seen that guy like be a total douchebag 20 times. Like there's no way he's now into this stand-up comedy on a train. Have you ever been on a public transportation where someone tries to start performing? It's the worst thing in the world. No one is getting pumped for that. But I love it. I love it.
In the morning, when everybody's trying to get to work, it's like, buddy, just sit the fuck down. I'm trying to read my newspaper here.
Okay, so yeah, the way I interpreted it was she killed Jake Gyllenhaal in one parallel dimension, but Jake got to possess the body of another man for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Here's your new dick.
What happens to the real Sean Fentress?
He's dead, man.
He's
dead, bro.
His life is...
Can you imagine like if his parents like were waiting to meet him, or like he runs into an old college buddy and Jake Gyllenhaal is just like, yeah, I guess.
Or like, how does he get home?
Just blows him off.
How does he get home?
That
he doesn't
really
know where
is
he
like a
lives.
biblical possession, is it not? It's the same thing.
I think Jake's in the wrong here. It's not very cool to just take over another guy's body.
That's not very cash
The
money
guy's
of you.
dead.
Yeah, but the other thing that's terrifying.
He's not dead if he's living in this alternate universe now.
Yeah,
He obviously lived.
yeah. The other thing that's terrifying is Jake Gyllenhaal is gonna be taking over bodies for the rest of his life.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that.
Like, there's source codes within the source codes, as we found out at the end when Jake Gyllenhaal shot that text over to Vera Farmiga, and he's like, "Hey, listen, this shit is real," and everyone gets super excited. And he's going to be going on different adventures now and just taking over different bodies for the rest of his life.
Over a long enough timeline, everyone will be Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Everyone will be Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal's all the way down.
Also, this also doesn't make sense. This also doesn't make sense because he would be texting the Vera Farmiga in this universe, not the one in the other universe.
Right, but
How could he get the email from that Vera Farmiga?
He emails the Vera Farmiga in the universe that he saves everybody. That's the one that he emails.
Yeah. He lets her know that the stuff's real, and he gives her the code.
Yeah, so that one knows that this is more than just a simulation.
Mikey,
But the original one has no idea.
Mikey. Nobody cares about the
When
original.
I did like I rewatched this part really closely right before the podcast. When he is like asking to die, there's a conversation between him and who's the scientist guy's name? What this character's name? The main guy?
Rutledge.
Dr. Rutledge?
Yeah,
Jeffrey
Dr.
Wright.
Rutledge. It's a conversation between them. The whole time, the camera doesn't focus on Jake Gyllenhaal. It doesn't focus on Dr. Rutledge. It focuses on Vera Farmiga, and she looks disturbed. And maybe, on the first brush, it's like, oh, she's questioning the morality of this thing. But I think this might not be the first loop of the source code, that he may have thwarted a potentially earlier threat. She had the text, and that kind of explains her actions at the end of the movie, disobeying orders. Now, that's out there. I don't know if there's anything in the text to support that, but that's my interpretation, and I liked it a lot.
I want to know how bad of a teacher he's going to be.
So, history.
It means nothing.
Quitting his job and moving to India.
He's gonna become a Chicago cop. That's the only job he's qualified for.
But are you with me, Stevie, that maybe this isn't the first loop of the source code?
It would make the movie a lot less meaningful if it wasn't the first loop.
It's like Josh said in the simulation theory, if there's infinite simulations, then it's unlikely that this would be the first loop if there's going to be infinite loops.
Indeed.
See, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Why do you like movies like this, Stevie? Like this and Predestination? You're drawn to them.
I am drawn to them. Same with Donnie Darko. Probably wasn't the first attempt. So yeah.
Jake.
I'll say this: Jake Gyllenhaal in that, his actual body, the one that's like barely functioning, kind of borderline brain dead.
Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, he's in there like Anakin Skywalker. He's missing some
Mustafar.
limbs, but the back of his head is gone. But he's still got that perfect face, don't he? Unscathed.
Thank God the helicopter blades never touched his beautiful face.
Thank goodness.
And
Alrighty. Are y'all ready for some yes or no's?
Yep.
Let's go from Weesis to Easis. Corey, let's start with you.
Okay. Yes, this is Corey. I'm going to give it a yes. I had not seen this movie until we did it for spoilers. Thank you for picking it, Stevie. I'm glad I watched it. I wouldn't have even known about it if it had not been for this, so...
Good deal.
I liked it a lot.
you never heard of this?
I didn't know about it, man. Good sci-fi movie, cool concept. It just moves right along. It has that really interesting, I don't know, I hesitate to say gimmick, but it is kind of a little gimmicky, and I guess in the way that we've been doing a lot of gimmicky movies lately, but that doesn't take away from it. I don't mean that as a pejorative. It's really cool. It's an interesting premise, like I said. It's just, I like Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a good sci-fi movie. In and out, a lot of fun.
Good deal. Pappy.
Yeah, I have a hard time actually assessing the quality of this movie because I'm so biased by all of the elements that I absolutely love. Every single piece of this movie is made for Pappy in a lab for what would be his favorite movie. The original sci-fi concept, even kind of the cheesy emotional story, the 90-minute runtime, the limited locations, which I don't think we talked about. There's really only 2.5 locations that this movie takes place in, which I absolutely love. And yeah, I the 90-minute runtime, I don't know if I said that already, but yeah, I just really, really, really like this movie. I had really low expectations too, so I think that might be part of it. A lot of the ratings that I saw from people who I really trust were in the 6 out of 10, 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5 range, and I was totally blown away. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Maybe that's too high. Maybe it was just the benefit of having low expectations, but great pick, Stevie. Really glad I watched it. The hardest of yeses for me.
Good deal. Josh.
Hello, Josh from Goshen here. I judge a lot of these movies by... We talked about it in the thread. When you watch movies at home, and we're all kind of locked out of the theaters right now, it's really hard to stay attentive. And so I tend to break movies up into 2 or 3 parts when I watch them. And that in-between time watching... when you're thinking about starting it up again, that feeling deep in your gut, I was just so pumped to turn back source code back on. And in a really rare way, this rate's really, really high for me. I love the dark angle that Jake Gyllenhaal is a ghost possessing a body at the end, too. I felt really smart when I thought of that because they don't really explicitly lay that out as something evil he's doing, but... man, I love Jake. Thanks for picking this. I hope he continue to do simulation type movies like Serenity, Predestination, The Matrix. I love it.
Good deal. Mikey.
It's a yes. I like the runtime, like Pap said, it's only 93 minutes. And Pap also cleared up another thing that I had been struggling with since the last time I saw this, where why would they go through all of this trouble just to prevent, not even prevent a terrorist attack that already happened, but to prevent the next terrorist attack from the same guy. Because because I was really struggling with what the point of this whole simulation business was if this thing had already happened and everybody was dead anyways. But yeah, that part is cleared up for me, but everything else surrounding the science doesn't really make much sense to me, and I still don't think it makes much sense to me after this podcast, but that's fine. I think it's still a fun sci-fi movie, and I obviously love Jake Gyllenhaal, and I think Michelle Monaghan is great in this movie too. But really, it's just justice for Sean Fentress, because that guy is now no longer existing in this universe or any other universe Jake Gyllenhaal possesses his body in. So, just sorry, Sean. I mean, you don't get to go back home again because Jake Gyllenhaal took your body over. But I like this movie. Yeah, like I said, I just don't think the science is, I don't want to say accurate enough. I just don't think it makes enough logical sense to really make it like a absolute must watch. Like, I can't put my full yes behind it, but I'll give it a soft yes.
Give it a Vigo yes.
I'll give it a semi chub yes. I'm getting there.
Brett?
Oh, this is definitely a hard yes. I love Jake Gyllenhaal like so much. I think this is a great movie. The Heil Master just kills it like he does in every movie. Michelle Monaghan I think is super charming. I mean, you can't feel too bad for Sean because he was never going to ask this girl out, and at least Jake had the balls to do it. So, you know, that's what I think. I think it's just really, like Pappy said, it's really unique. I mean, it's like it takes little pieces from other movies and kind of puts them together. I don't find it that confusing personally, but I'm super smart, so it doesn't really, you know. I didn't think. I mean, obviously it's not like true or real, but I just didn't have that hard of a time following it. It's the second time I watched it. I think I might even have liked it more this time. It's definitely a movie I think I'll probably watch again. I think it's a must-see personally, and it's a really hard yes for me.
Cool, yeah. I'll give this movie a hard yes. I just love Jake Gyllenhaal movies. I love that dude as an actor. Typically, most of his movies are really good. Even the bad ones like Prince of Persia. But yeah, this movie to me it had its flaws for sure, but it was just fun to watch. And it's short too, it's only 93 minutes, so definite hard yes for me. Is that yeses all around?
Preserved.
Alrighty.
This
Who's
is
ready?
right there with Fast 5.
What if someone possessed your body and stole your woman?
What can you do? What can you do
Well,
about
she
it?
was divorced, so yeah.
Is it like being John Malkovich, like you're still buried deep down and you can witness the whole thing?
Oh God.
He's in the sunken place.
Yeah.
Does everybody think that at least in one of Jake's future endeavors, he's going to get with Vera Farmiga's character? Because there was some chemistry going on there.
With what? His dead body?
Well, no, he's going to keep possessing other people. We talked about that. Pappy and Stevie brought it up. He's going to keep source coding into other people, and he's going to definitely, maybe he'll be with her ex-husband and get back together with her. I don't know.
He's going to possess his way up to her.
Yep. Yep. That's the goal.
Alrighty, who's ready for some trivia?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes.
Today we're playing Name That Swede. I am going to give you a description that mentions an actor pretty much in their most famous roles, and you're going to have to decode who this actor or actress is. Got it?
Decode?
Yeah.
Yep. Decode. All right.
Is it like an anagram?
You'll see. Who is
Wait, how is
first?
this working? We each get one for passes? Are there steals?
If you miss, you're out.
Oh shit.
Yep. It's cutthroat time, boys. All right, let me see here.
I think
First and
Mikey,
last name?
Well, Mikey's just
Okay,
gonna go
so
last.
Corey-
Yeah, and then I'm right before him. Right?
Okay, so it's I think it's Corey.
Corey on its
I
Pat.
have the least advantage.
Corey on its Pat. Josh on the animated Lord of the Rings. Myself, Pappy
Okay, yeah,
on
so
Serenity.
goes
Brett
Corey,
on District
Josh,
B13.
Pappy, Brett, Mikey.
Then Mikey.
Okay, Corey. Name this actor or actress. I may be in the minority, but the seal I carry is rather flashy.
That's your only clue. And if you miss it, you're out. Is that what we're...
Yep.
I don't quite understand. So I'm gonna say Tom Cruise.
He is not from Sweden. That was Max von Sydow, who was in The Minority Report, The Seventh Seal, and Flash Gordon.
Oh, I must have missed that. So they're all from Sweden?
Well, I said name that Swede.
Okay, fair enough. Cool.
Okay, Josh, you're up.
Okay.
I love math, I love sex, and I love to sing covers of ABBA.
Alexander Skarsgård.
It was his father, Stellan. Josh, you're out.
That's like the only Swedish actor I can think of.
That was from... Oh, my goodness.
Said it with such confidence.
I love math from Good Will Hunting. I love
Kinsey?
sex from... Nymphomaniac. And I love to sing covers of ABBA from Mamma Mia. Trying to think here. Pappy, I think you're next.
What a leg up in trivia I got.
Tell you
Yeah,
what.
right.
It's a lot easier than Max Van Sydow or whatever.
Okay.
Bringing him back from last trivia.
Okay, Pat.
Yo.
I'll give you leeway with pronunciation. I sent a Hawaiian back from hell after he told me I looked funny and I would never be a Russian astronaut.
You told me I looked funny. I feel like that should be the clue I sent a Hawaiian back to hell.
Back from
Back
hell.
from hell. Bill Skarsgård? I don't know.
Is it the
I have
guy
no
from Fargo?
Armageddon?
That was Peter Stormare from Constantine, Fargo, and Armageddon.
Yeah.
I
that's-
knew. I
wouldn't have
fucking
known his
knew.
name.
I didn't know
Keanu
his
Reeves
name,
was-
yeah.
Yeah, that was Peter Storm or Stormare, however you want to say it. Brett, I think you're up.
Yeah.
I've worked for the law a lot in my career. Once with a crazy redhead, once with a crazy blonde, and once wearing nothing but armor.
Wait, before Brett answers, does Mikey have to prove it? Or would he just win if Brett gets it wrong?
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to get this right.
He just wins.
I don't mind that.
Can you repeat the clue, please?
I have worked for the law a lot in my career. Once with a crazy redhead, once with a crazy blonde, and once wearing nothing but armor.
Oh, okay.
Hey, remember like before we started the podcast and someone was saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. We got stuff to do.
Well, Peter Welker, the guy from RoboCop. I have no idea.
I think that's close. Is it the other
Joel Kinnaman.
the other RoboCop, right?
The other RoboCop.
Yes, I knew it.
Oh,
Mikey, I just want to see if you'll get this or not. That's just fun to play. But you win, so congrats to Mikey. Cannot wait.
Good job,
But-
Mikey. But if you get
Mikey,
it wrong,
One of
you're
those
out.
trivias that makes everyone feel so good about themselves. Thank you.
Mikey, call your shot here. Name this actor or actress. I love my husband even when he is a woman. I love my boss even when he has a knife in him. I love my job even when it's Superman and a Harvard bro getting in fistfights.
I only know the Skarsgård family. So Bill Skarsgård. I don't.
That was
that's
the
not
actress
right. I don't know.
Alicia Vikander
You're out.
from the Danish girl, Ex Machina, and Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Oh, she's the robot.
She's the robot in
Yeah.
Ex Machina, and she's also the girl in Man from U.N.C.L.E. So
It's,
yeah.
Old boy's wife from X-Men. Dude, Michael Fassbender.
Oh,
This is the perfect trivia for Mikey. He gets to win and he doesn't get any questions right, just like usual. So, pretty perfect.
Well, Mikey.
He hasn't hosted in like ages, so.
But Brett is still
I'm
going to
not
be salty about
actually.
it.
Fast and Furious.
Okay.
He sounds salty.
Mikey, do you know what you want to do, or do you want us to cut the break?
Let's cut.
We can cut to break.
Let's cut to break. When we come back, Mikey will be telling us what movie we'll be spoiling next.
Now you can check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Profit.
And we are back, Mikey, winner of this week's trivia. What are we spoiling next?
This is we haven't done a Bruce Willis movie in a while since I think like Die Hard, and this is a weird one. This is called Fifth Element. I haven't seen it in a long time.
I bought that for Brittany, so I have the Blu-ray. Yeah.
Mikey,
that is
thank
so
you.
freaking weird.
Thank you, Mikey. For
Mikey, you are the
there.
people's champ.
My
What's
brother-in-law's
weird about it,
girlfriend.
Josh?
My brother-in-law's girlfriend just yelled at me through the window tonight, like an hour ago. Hey, what's that movie with Bruce Willis and the girl is a redhead with the bikini? And she did this like motion where she did like stripe up and down and the cross, and I was like, Fifth Element.
That's weird.
Elements.
Oh. Well, thank you for listening to this week's episode of Spoilers, of us breaking down source code, as I've come to realize. There's no the source code. But, Pappy, what do we have coming down the line?
I don't know why you do this to me. I have no idea. This is
Just to fuck
Dude,
with you, man.
You are the master file of spoilers. I don't want to hear
I don't know. Yeah, what's the trivia order? What's coming down the line? I'll say this: we probably have at this point released Jaws 3D100 or 300th episode. So for those of you who haven't been listening for long, it's a lot of work. We've been doing this for a lot of years, and yeah, 300 episodes. Congrats to us. So go check out.
Let's go. 300
movie commentary episode of Spoilers.
That's where the big bucks start rolling in after
Yep,
300
right
episodes.
after 300.
Made it, boys.
I just want to know if you're serious or not.
We're getting syndicated.
Oh, well, as always, thank you for listening, and that was Spoilers.
Long as I got stuff for most of them saw. Even when I was wrong, I got my point across. They depicted me the boss. Of course, my orange box cutter make the world go round. Plus I'm fucking...
Whoever gives me the best one gets a leg up in trivia.
I don't know. I would think of something like
He's all chopped up. Mm-hmm.
mine's wasted.
That's it.
Even though Jake had
Was
the
that an
high ground
Elvis reference,
helicopter.
Josh?
There's something about the science is probably not accurate at all in this movie.
Jeffrey Wright plays the same character he does in Westworld.
Ooh, I like
Very
that.
nice.
All right, Josh, you get a leg up.
Go.
He talks real slowly. This
Brett,
is Langley.
how many weeks in a row are you going to rush the start of the pod? I think you're up to
We're
like
not
6.
rushing. We're supposed to start at 9:52.
I'm excited. This is going to be a fun episode, I think.
Yeah, it's like, what's a pod?
Dr. Wong is like,
Come
I will
on,
kill
Mikey.
you.
Count us down, brother.
Brother Mikey.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
That was Spoilers.